Cedi dollar matter.
I was listening to Paul with admiration, and I agree to a very large extent with all the things he said about data and about how we should own that data to influence our story, except his attempt to deify Nana Akufo-Addo. I mean, that's where I think it was just a tangential matter, because the point he uses to deify Nana Akufo-Addo is not new in our politics, unfortunately. Right. I mean, I recall that before the 2016 general elections, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, then running mate to Nana Akufo-Addo, had cause to even ridicule President Mahama on these rating agencies. Moody's at the time had, come up with a rating that President Mahama disagreed with, and Bawumia, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia at the time criticized him and said he didn't know what he was talking about. At the time, I'm sure Paul and the NPP supporters and sympathizers who wish Nana Akufo-Addo well at the time were happy that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was doing this. So if having been in government after 8 years, Nana Akufo-Addo also comes to the point of realizing that perhaps there's a need for us to own our own data and dictate the pace when it comes to our ratings. It is not new. It is not something that is deserving of the accolades that Paul attempts to give Nana Akufo-Addo. And the fact is, President Mahama is also on record, even quite lately, to have spoken eloquently on the need for us as Africans to own the data that will influence our credit ratings. I think only last May, at his keynote address, I think in Lomé at a conference, he made the point, and I will just share the quote with you. Right. Quote, "Credit rating agencies must adopt methodologies that reflect the structural reforms and growth potential of African economies, not just penalize us for volatility we did not create," unquote. This was President Mahama speaking only in May, this year. Right. And like I said, this is not the first time he has expressed some reservation about how these rating agencies, have approached African economies. But when he did at the time we was going into elections in 2016, he was criticized by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was running mate to Nana Akufo-Addo. So I'm saying that I agree with Paul on all the things he said about data and the need for us to pay more attention to it, to own it, to influence how it is used to tell our story. I agree, except I do not find it necessary. I think it's tangential to then use that to deify President Akufo-Addo. Now, on the Cedi and Bloomberg, that is where, again, I have an issue. Moro, I follow the news like many of us, and something interesting happened yesterday. I don't know if many of us paid attention to it. So I saw the Bloomberg story, Moro. I saw the Bloomberg story, and maybe Paul will help me. My English may not be that good. The headline for the Bloomberg story was Ghana Cedi's world-beating performance upended by impulse surge. This was a Bloomberg headline. Right. I'm saying my English is not good because I don't know how upended easily translates into West Cedi. Yeah. Exactly. That's why I'm saying that I follow the news and I noticed something interesting that I don't understand why many may have missed it. Yeah. Because this was the Bloomberg story. But then the graphic online, I don't know whoever is the editor, picked this Bloomberg story, and the headline was Ghana Cedi is worst performing Cedi, Bloomberg, and attributed it to Bloomberg. But Bloomberg didn't report that. But the Daily Graphic, the Ghanaian-owned Daily Graphic, chose a headline, attributed that headline to Bloomberg, but Bloomberg didn't have that headline. What agenda was whoever set it at the graphic? I don't know. But I think there was clearly an agenda being set at the Daily Graphic, which beats my imagination that a government-owned, broadcasting outlet will set such a negative agenda. Because you see, like Paul says, anybody who Googles today may most likely come across the Daily Graphic headline that is attributed to Bloomberg, even though Bloomberg did not report that.
Right.
Bloomberg headline was Ghana's Cedi world-beating performance upended by import surge. And the story is here. It says, a surge in demand for dollars by companies paying for imports before year-end holiday season has ended the Ghanaian Cedi's world-beating performance. So the meaning of appended is even explained in the first paragraph. The high performance of the Cedi, Bloomberg is saying, has simply, stopped. And it is as a result of high imports for the upcoming holidays. Right. The second paragraph says the currency of Africa's biggest gold producer weakened 13% so far this quarter, the biggest decline globally, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. Thus erased some of the Cedi's 50% gain that was underpinned by a stronger bullion price and saw it ranked as the world's best performer in the 3 months through June. So nowhere in this story has Bloomberg said the Cedi is the worst performing Cedi.
Right.
Where?
I think that to be fair to Graphic, we have to ask them. But what I just did when he was talking is that I texted on WhatsApp to Meta AI and asked that, did Bloomberg say Ghana Cedi is the worst performing currency? And the answer is as follows. According to Bloomberg, yes, the Ghana Cedi has been ranked as the world's worst performing currency in the third quarter of 2025. It's depreciated by 13% against the US dollar, largely due to a surge in demand for dollars by companies paying for imports ahead of year-end holiday season. This decline erased some of the Cedi's earlier 50% gain, which was driven by stronger gold prices. And then they do the key statistics, depreciation 13%, year-to-date performance 23% against the US dollar, current exchange rate 11.9 to the Cedi. Now, they have the story. The narrative of these analysts usually comes, like if you look at Musa Dankwa, he does the same thing. They give the analysis, and then they may have done a ranking, like a league table. I'm guessing that if it is, that's probably where the story is coming from. So what you are reading is
and
correct.
I'm saying that the story of Bloomberg does not, in any part of the story, describe the Cedi as a worst performing. But we are right. There's a table, that has been provided. And in the table, you have Ethiopian birr, Chilean peso, Jamaican Republic, Botswana, Argentina peso, and Ghanaian Cedi. These are the only 6 currencies on the table.
And Ghana Cedi is the last.
Yes, and Ghana Cedi, but there are other, you and I.
Maybe there's a bottom part of the table.
That is the table.
Okay.
There may be a bottom part, so you cannot use this table of 6 currencies to just conclude that is the worst in the world. Right. If you say it is the worst among the 6 that have been tabled, you are right. But these are just 6 currencies.
The story says it's the worst, and somebody says that the Bloomberg story has that information.
No, I can read the full Bloomberg story. I've already read the 2 paragraphs, so let me go to the next one. It says the central bank's inability to supply sufficient foreign currency to the market has contributed to the Cedi's current weakness, according to analysts, including Hamza Adam, head of market risk management at UMB. As at last week, banks that filed dollar needs on behalf of their clients to the Bank of Ghana got about half of their requests, quote and unquote, he said, by phone from the capital, Accra. This week, the central bank is trying to meet all demand. Then it gives the biggest losses against the dollar. Ghana Cedi is there, and according to, like I said, these 6 currencies, Ghana Cedi is the worst according to the 6 currencies that have been put on the table. Then it says the Cedi traded 0.1% weaker at 11.9 per dollar by 150. So I'm just saying that, you see, Paul, the point I'm trying to make is that even Bloomberg was not very frontal in saying that it is the worst in the world. And according to the table, yes, 6 currencies are there. It has indicated that it's the worst performer according to the 6, currencies that they have put there.
Because it says global.
Yes.
So that then.
But what I'm saying, the point I'm making is that
global, and then you proceed to select 6.
Maybe they haven't tagged. The report
against those 6.
What we are reading, what all of us are reading, is what the Bloomberg has published.
They are not even talking about the West. They are talking about biggest losers.
Yeah,
so you see, biggest losers is different from the West.
The West performance.
Are you getting it? The biggest losers. Ghana is the biggest loser in this month. Are you getting it? But it doesn't make it the worst. Like the Daily Graphic has, like the Daily Graphic, online story suggested. It is the biggest loser. Sometimes you can be the biggest loser in the week. It doesn't make you the worst performer.
For the quarter.
Are you getting it?
It's not a month, it's for a quarter.
Yes,
the analysis is
but
for
the
a
point
quarter.
I'm making is that I think that it was a deliberate, a distortion of what Bloomberg reported.
Oh, Honorable, I think that's a bit too quick.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm saying that is what we are reading is what Bloomberg has given us.
Yes.
But these things are subscribed to. And
Yes.
then the subscription, the subscriber gets more.
Yes.
So we should hold on and talk to Graphic about it. Because
Yeah,
Bank of Ghana,
but-
Bank of Ghana has seen it.
Yes.
And so if the view of the matter was that
Yeah.
this is wrong and Graphic has misreported it, Bank of Ghana will have said so. Bank of Ghana, I'm sure, is a subscriber to the Bloomberg document.
But the point,
so
the point,
we
the point, it
don't have to be
doesn't.
too hard on Graphic
Whatever
yet.
it is,
Yeah.
whatever it is. My point is that headline by the Graphic is what you are referring to, and many others are referring to. But I'm saying that when I read the Bloomberg story,
You don't see
I
it that
don't
way.
get
So maybe
that.
Graphic has
I don't
more
get
information.
that crisis
Yeah,
that the Daily Graphic headline, kind of created. Now, again, when you look at the performance of the Cedi in general, it is fair to say that whatever the circumstance is today, it is not out of the predictions of this government. Paul, you remember that in the beginning of the year, not, I would say in the middle of the year, when the Cedi started showing a lot of strength, you recall that at a meeting with exporters, His Excellency President Mahama gave a band. You recall? He gave a band that the government was working with as far as the exchange rate is concerned. Are we out of that band? No, we are not. And the Bank of Ghana has always indicated from the beginning of this year that they are not targeting a specific rate, that they are targeting a stable one.
The president said it will be between 10 and 12.
Exactly. And we are not out of it. It is still within that band. Are you getting it? So there's really no cause for alarm whatsoever. It tells you that the government is in control of the situation. And like I said again, the Bank of Ghana has always said that they are not targeting a specific rate. What they are targeting is a stable rate. A stable rate that will be lower than the 16, 17 cedis to a dollar that we had. That is what the Bank of Ghana has always said, that they want a stable rate. The president went further to give details and said it will be between 10 and 12. And we are within that band. And clearly, we also know that around this time, around July and August, there were lower exports of gold because of the weather changes and all of that. There were lower exports of gold. But the Bank of Ghana Reserve is robust. And they have simply decided to, reduce the interventions, that they could have done in the market. They have a robust reserve. And if it was going out of band, out of control, and they wanted to intervene, they would have. And so it tells you that the government knows what it's doing. There's simply no cause for alarm. And people who understand economy and how it is run will tell you that an exchange rate, a lower exchange rate does not mean 100% benefit to all in the economy. And so it depends on how you tweak the exchange rate for whatever gains you want to make at any particular time. What we know is that, this is the period that many importers, order goods for the end of the year. And so they are demanding more dollars. But we have been here before. During Hajj, I remember that many of us were surprised that in the period of Hajj, the Cedi was actually going down. Because that is another period that we usually get surge in the demand for dollars. But around that time, the Cedi was going down. Maybe because at the time, the pressure was not as much as it is today for imports. But the Bank of Ghana has told us that they are targeting a specific rate, and a stable rate and not a specific rate. The president has given us more details that the band is between 10 and 12. And if we are trading around 11.912, we should know that it is not out of control yet. I just don't think that we should encourage this spin to create panic in the name of scoring political points, which doesn't serve anybody. Because you see, when the Cedi is doing well against the dollar, it's not NDC people alone who benefit. Everybody in the economy benefits when the city is under control. So why will you want to just score a political point against the government by spinning in a way that will make the city look bad, when you know that in the long run, you will also be affected by it? And the supporters you are seeking, to come your way will also be affected by it. I mean, so I think that it is a red herring. The Bloomberg did not categorically, carry that headline that the Daily Graphic chose. I don't know why they chose to amplify that part of the analysis that Bloomberg did. It is perhaps their editorial discretion, but I wonder why of all the headlines they could have chosen, because look at even Bloomberg, that doesn't owe any allegiance to this country. Look at the headline they used, that the strength of the city has come to a halt, and we are now doing below 50% of how well we're doing in the last month. And the analysis of Bloomberg, I think, is fair. And I think that is what we should be paying attention to, and not whatever motives others may have to set agenda.
In all of this, the interesting
will
thing
get
is
us
that
chasing the goose.
It's politics of elections, politics that uses currency. Well, politicians use the currency, and they use the currency for their politics.
Right.
People want to make news, and political news is news. So if the politicians will, the Honorable MP says that during Hajj, we know that it goes down, during Christmas, we know, if these things had been established and taken away from politics, that at Christmas time there will be currency surge. During some important Hajj, Chinese New Year, all of these epochs bring about the surge. But in opposition, politicians will take advantage of it. Right. That's what happens all the time. Well, I'm saying that it is coming from a precedent where we are beginning to preach that the young generation must settle what is political and what is not political. Until we do that, everybody is going to be at the end of it. Because if you are in government, you're going to be at the end of it. Opposition comes, they're going to do this. And this is the reason why politics must be delineated into, this man has brought a policy that is bad. This man's policy is good. Yes, corruption is always something to talk about, because you cannot pillage the state's resources the way you want as a politician in government. So that's important.
Right.
But then these little issues about, oh, look at them, the currency is gone up, and then the currency goes. I saw a Facebook post yesterday where somebody said that when the currency is doing well, MPP says that it is because they left enough money for Atto-Forsen to pump it, which is by and large true. When the currency is not doing well, they say it is Atto-Forsen's fault. And then another post says that, didn't they say they are going to put use gold to invest a lot of gold in the currency and then it will be fine? Didn't they say they will put 250 million and it will be fine? The president of Ghana had occasions to comment about why the currency is stable. And he said that the currency is stable because of the gold board. He weighed into that. But the gold board is still there. The gold board is still working. And the currency is said to be the worst performing in the world. What then happened to the gold board work that they are doing? I'm sure the gold board is still working. And the gold board is something good for Ghana. But if politicians take advantage of it, that, we are doing well, the currency is there, we are doing well. In fact, when this currency thing started, Atto-Forsen was not speaking. And the MPP people then said that. Why is he not speaking? Because he knows that he has not done anything to make the currency stable. It is our work. Then Atto-Forsen started speaking and started taking credit for it. And he took significant credit for it. He came to Parliament to present his mid-year budget in June. He talked about it. Right. If this doesn't change, or much doesn't happen to this story, in November, when he comes to present his real budget, he may not even talk about it. And the MPP will be pointing out to him. They're going to hold placards and say, the worst performing currency, etc., etc. It is time for us to recognize what is political fair game and what is not. If we don't, everyone will be at the end of it.